Welcome to Babylon Brews, deep thoughts from over time and text. I'm coming at you, Aaron Kru Juice for Verka, and I've got Gumbi.
Yes, it's me. What's up?
Tonight, we're going to do a reviews episode because we haven't done one in quite some time.
Yeah, got to finish this one up.
We'll be catching up with a recap on Evil Season 2 and 3 because Season 4 has just started, and we're looking forward to it. All right.
Excellent.
We will be sipping on nothing better than Res IPA SA from our friends at Brownhoist Cider Company.
Yes. I'm excited about that.
Delicious. I actually picked this up to visit our friends the other night, and they are doing quite well.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Like, really well. Like
I can't see those guys not being successful.
took the little lady down there.
Yeah?
She got to meet him.
And what'd she think? The place, the food, or did they have food yet?
They don't have food there yet. They will here soon.
I know they were talking about doing Spanish food and...
Oh, yeah. But they, no, she's got a chance to sit down and try some of their more flavorful blends.
Yes.
And she was all about it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the cigars tonight, Aaron.
Thank you. I think these are your donations. Fantastic. So this one is that nice res flavor. Oh, that nose.
It's so good.
Oh, fantastic. It has that very slight cranberry type flavor to it.
We got to bring them on. At least, one of them come on.
I was actually talking to them about us holding the next social justice episode there, so we could feature them and David at the same time.
Wow. That is the perfect storm there.
Can you imagine the conversation?
I would just love to be a fly on the wall. Yeah.
Well, you'll have a seat.
Yes.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So, we've got
man,
Evil.
that tastes so good, man.
Yes, we do. Goes along well with it. So, Evil is a show. It was originally on CBS and transferred over to Paramount. And it's been a really phenomenal show. It's been a blast, actually. What has been, before we dive into the recaps, what has been a few of your favorite parts of it?
Oh, man. From the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
I got to say, what drew me in from the very beginning was just how they set up Father David.
Absolutely.
And his struggle to want to keep believing, and because I believe he was ready to just kind of walk away from the priesthood, right? He was
on the verge. He's on the verge.
And I loved seeing that struggle with the faith, because we can all relate to that. So at several junctures in my life, you kind of want to just question everything. Is this worth keep going, keep believing? And so, yeah, I think that's what initially really kept me hooked.
Okay.
Was seeing his struggle.
Very good. Yeah. I loved how he was so balanced, because he's an assessor doing all of these investigations, but he wants to remain impartial, which is why he brings an atheist on and a lapsed Muslim on, right? So you have one person, and the atheist is there to really examine people's psychology, make sure that they're psychologically well.
Yep.
And then you have the lapsed Muslim, who is a tech genius. He can examine anything. He's the guru of tech, which I love watching him dive into that stuff.
And he brings the humor too.
Oh, absolutely. He's fantastic. Yeah. Was it the Magnificent Ben? Yeah. He's such a great whimsical character. I love it. Which then, of course, that touches on him in season 2, which is fun, because then he sees something.
Yeah. Yes. But I did like at the very beginning, the first few episodes, it's like, no, Ben's like, "It's not really that. Actually, this is what it is."
Right.
Has it all figured out. And, that's like another, I wouldn't say like a major blow to David because he wanted it to be, something spiritual to confirm his struggle that he's going with. And
Yeah.
which, again, something I think I can relate to. But um, yeah, as they build up off that, you slowly see it start to change. So,
Yes, you do. But and Mike Coulter, man, what a great acting job. I mean, he pulls it off seamlessly.
yeah.
He's likable, he's fun, a little bit funny. So he's just a really good actor. He's perfect for the role. You know,
Yeah.
previously he played in the Netflix series for Marvel, but honestly,
I didn't
this
know that.
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh yeah. He was in one of the Netflix Marvel shows.
Ah.
Um and it was okay, but I kind of didn't jive with the character because in the comics he's a little more hardcore
Mm,
and they kind of downplayed him inside the series. So I was like, it's okay. He's not really the goody two shoes in the comics. He's more of a hardcore Shaft type character, you know?
yeah.
And so they really downplayed him in the series. I'm like, eh. So in this series, it's perfect. I mean, he's likable, he's enjoyable. Again, he's humorous,
Yeah.
but then he can carry along that strong sense of sensibility as well.
Hmm.
So he really plays a good role.
Yeah. Obviously the lead demon, Leland,
Mhm, mhm.
he's fantastic.
Oh my lord, Michael Emerson, he's just what a brilliant actor.
You're rooting for the demon. Come on.
I've loved him since he was in Lost.
Never saw it.
Hmm,
Yeah.
really? Oh man. So go ahead and treat yourself to Lost
Okay.
after we're done with the fourth season of Evil, because once you start it, you will binge watch the entire thing.
Mm,
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Um, the ending is very controversial. I actually didn't mind it, but I'm not going to go over that because I want you to watch it first.
okay. Yeah.
Um,
No spoilers.
yeah, but you know what? We could do a reviews episode after you do that because there's spiritual implications in the end of Lost, which is why I was kind of okay with it, and I
Okay.
kinda liked the way they did it.
Okay.
Um, so we'll talk about that on the podcast after you binge it.
So going back to the beginning of the first season, David's boss in the church, his immediate boss, who presents to them the assessments that they need to go on. Did you ever feel like they were being gaslit or kind of set up? Like even if there was something there, then it's
Kinda
like
seemed that way.
I, I couldn't tell if that priest, I can't remember his name,
Mm.
David's boss.
Yeah, the original, father Monsieur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monsieur, that's the word. Like if he was really out to support them or not. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I wasn't
Kind of
sure.
played both sides to me.
Yeah. What a shame that because he played a good role.
He did.
It's a shame he passed away,
Yeah.
because he was a really good actor. Um, but yeah, he did play that role where you weren't sure if he was 100% on their side or if he was just trying to get them to debunk everything.
Right. Right. Yeah, it was kind of political for sure. So, being a Catholic yourself, what was your overall gut feeling from it? I mean, is it something that rings true to you?
I think so because I struggle with my faith. I still struggle with my faith. I love my faith, but I do struggle with it. And I struggle with it in a different way than when I was evangelical. When I was evangelical, I questioned everything day and night, hours a night,
Mm,
because there were so many contrasting different ideas of what simple things are, like salvation, right? Like there were so many contrasting views on what that actually meant, right? So, at least in the Catholic Church, that's not really a thing. It's you understand what salvation is. It's a whole theology. It's laid out for you what it is, right? And no one really knows who's saved,
Hmm.
which is it's both can be concerning, but in a way it's actually uplifting because it's not like that hardcore idea of Calvinism, right? I mean, there is an actual path that you can walk, and it's not dictated whether you are pre-chosen or not. So
Yeah.
there's some comfort there. I can struggle through this and still find salvation.
That was another thing I think from the beginning that really appealed to me. I don't think I'd, unless there is one that I just don't know about, but you wouldn't see like an evangelical version of something like Evil with the same kind of plot,
Right.
because we wouldn't invite a skeptic or an atheist or even another member of the Protestant church and to have different views to
Yeah.
do what they're doing. So I did appreciate that that they showed that's really what the Catholic Church kind of does
It
in the
does.
real world.
It does. Yeah, because like I've for the last several years in a row, I've taught the Bible classes on Sunday mornings for teens and adults. That was one of my preset ideas going in is I went to the educational director and I said, listen, because he asked me to teach the class. I said, if I'm going to do this class, I have to be able to pull from any scholar I want to. That means atheist, agnostic, evangelical, Catholic. Whoever I pull from, I have to be able to pull from the most viable, legitimate source. Are you okay with that? Yeah. All right, cool. We're good.
Yeah.
So the fact that the open mindedness exists is just awesome.
So what's your view of the lead girl character? I can't think of her name right now.
Uh, her the actress is Katja Herbers. Katja
Yeah.
Herbers, yeah. I thought she did a very good job.
Hmm.
Really enjoyed um her her personal struggle.
She kind of became unhinged.
She did. She did, but I kind of liked it. I kind of
Yeah.
jived with it. I thought that she did a really nice job.
Hmm.
Um and the thing is you could see her struggling because from her side, she's not struggling with faith, right? From her side, she's struggling because she doesn't want faith.
Mm.
And yet she's seeing things that might lead her there, and she does not want that.
Well, she represents the quote unquote backslidden Catholic, right? Because she was Catholic growing up as a little girl. I remember they made a reference to that.
Yes. Yeah.
So I thought that was very interesting that they wrote that in.
Yeah. And it's interesting to watch her go through her struggles because she struggles not just simply from the lapsed Catholic slash atheist side, but she also struggles from the I'm a mother and I have to work a professional career side as well,
Yep.
which she does very well. Um, and then to watch her struggle with trying to be that good mother for her children.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, which she does a great job. I mean, she's holding down a full career, a full career path,
Yep.
and yet she's a very good mother the entire time,
For
which
sure.
is which
Yep.
is a great role because there's so many people out there that disregard the role of a good mother these days. So I think she really does a fantastic job balancing those two. So it's really nice. It's really
Yeah.
nice.
You got a clip you're gonna play?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
All right. So this is a recap right here of season 2.
When Kristen Bouchard starts working for David Acosta, a demon assessor and priest in training for the Catholic Church in season 1 of Evil from Paramount Plus, her faith in science is pushed to the limit. After Kristen bludgeons a released serial killer Orson LaRue to death, her skin burns like a demon's when she grasps the cross on her rosary, implying that she's demonically possessed.
Hey, why do you have blood on your leg?
I don't have blood on my leg. See?
You okay, right?
Yeah, spectacular. When my family's safe, I am spectacular.
While Kristen's husband is off shutting down their climbing business in Colorado, in the beginning of season 2, Kristen's behavior gets more and more volatile. and strange in his absence. In season 2, Leland is basically paying the Catholic Church to give him an exorcism, and it's obvious to the team that Leland has something sinister up his sleeve. To David's dismay, he is assigned to be Leland's spiritual counselor. A new protagonist, Sister Andrea, is introduced to the show, joining David in the fight against Leland's evil. Kristen admits her murder of Orson LaRue to her psychiatrist.
The way you're telling me this, you don't seem bothered.
I'm not. I'm glad he's dead.
And the police, you're not worried?
No, they think it's LaRue's wife.
Oh my God.
But they're wrong.
Even her cop friend Mira figures out Kristen's secret, allowing her to get away with the killings, knowing Kristen did what she did to protect her family. Becoming very angry and unhinged towards the end of season 2, Kristen cheats on her husband with a fake satanic church leader that's trying to cheat the IRS, and hits a man with a frozen bag of fries for cutting in front of her in the line at the grocery
angry.
store. While Kristen
I've seen
attends
that.
Leland's last rite exorcism, the demon seems to get released from her body at the same time Leland's thrashing on the bed, mirroring Leland's reactions to the rite. The final episode of season 2 surrounds cannibalism with a young man in med school who is developing a taste for human cadavers. While investigating a morgue,
Does anybody else remember that scene from Silence of the Lambs? Mm.
in the last episode, David is chased through the halls by a winged demon. Sister Andrea tries to help explain that the demon David saw was due to his spiritual gifts, stressing to him that what he saw was very real. When Ben and David show Sister Andrea the evidence they've collected, she puts the mystery of the sigil map together.
This is a map of 60 demonic houses, all houses of Satan, going back 60 decades.
Okay.
They're like family crests, and each house needs to assure its line of succession. Before the master of one house dies, he must guarantee a successor.
How does he or she do that?
He needs to be consumed, eaten.
Kristen gets pissed when she finds out Leland's been visiting her daughter at school, causing her to grab her murder weapon, the ice pick, and go out looking for him. Leland and Cheryl encourage the med school turned cannibal to eat humans, throwing a special first taste of flesh party for him.
Now, what they didn't bring up is the fact that the gentleman here, the student, he was struggling because he had a taste for human flesh for the entire episode, and that it ends with him finally consuming human flesh after struggling so much to try to avoid that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Then at the very end of season 2, Kristen and David start to make out, popping the sexual tension that drove the plot of Evil season 1 to the Netflix top 10 list back in the fall of 2020 before it was consigned to Paramount Plus a year later. To me, this seemed like poor timing for this because the sexual tension had already fizzled out and remained nearly non-existent most of season 2. It'll be interesting to see where the writers take this big season 2 cliffhanger in season 3. Was it just a kiss, or do they have sex? Does this affect David being a priest, or Kristen and her husband's marriage? And is that where the plot needed to go right off the bat in season 3? I predict that there will be more cannibalism and corny-looking CGI demons stalking the characters in season 3. I think Kristen's mom will go deeper into the cult and try to climb some sort of elite satanic underworld ladder. The hasty cliffhanger at the end of season 2 brought on its own set of baggage the showrunners will have to deal with in season 3. Will Kristen leave her husband for the...
And that was the recap for season 3, or season 2, rather, season 2.
I forgot how amazing it was when Leland volunteered for the exorcism.
Yes.
That was so hysterical.
Laughable.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's torturing me. Get it.
Again, Michael Emerson, what a great actor.
And then he finishes and he's like, "Ooh, that was great, guys, wasn't it? Should I come back?" And Father Dave was just like, "Please get him out of here. He's toying with us."
Right. That was hilarious. It was very well done. Michael Emerson is just a brilliant actor. I'm pretty sure he's playing himself in like everything he does because he's such a good character actor.
Yeah, I agree.
He just echoes it through beautifully.
We got to do a shout out for the mom too, because her mom, I know it's her part, but I really don't like her, but she plays her part very well. She's such an instigator.
Insanely well.
Wow. I feel like she's always trying to cause a wedge between her daughter and her daughter's husband.
Oh, definitely. There we go. Next one's ready to go. Here we go.
At the end of Evil Season 2, Kristen comes back to David's room after his ordination to confess her murder of Orson LaRue. After her confession, they lock eyes and begin to kiss. They strip off their clothes, and when David sees her burnt cross marks on her stomach, he freezes up. Kristen is embarrassed and leaves. David prays, ashamed.
Now, that part's very interesting when you think about it, because it's not just markings he sees on her, it's burned crosses in her flesh.
Yeah.
So him as a priest, understanding that this is a sin, and then he sees burned crosses on her skin.
Yeah. So, I mean, is that implying that something is inside of her?
Well, remember, she was burning those on her to try to make her feel something, right? And then that's how the season kind of started in season 2, was she took those rosaries, put it against her, and she found it was burning her. And so she kept doing it.
Right. It started happening after she killed LaRue, right?
Yes.
Which to me implied that something had completely given in and she, got taken over. But I don't know if that's the case or not.
Yeah. They'd already been hinting at that. And then, of course, later in that season 2 is when the exorcism happens.
Hmm.
Here we go.
because he just took his vows to become a priest. As he prays, Kristen shows up behind him and tells him they are going to have sex and nobody needs to know. When Andy gets home, he tells Cheryl he wants her out of the garage by the end of the week.
Listen, Daddy.
So he gives in to the sin. So, and all of us,
Good point.
yeah, all of us at some point do give it, because he doesn't know that that's actually a demon.
Right.
He thinks it's her,
Right.
but he still gave in to the sin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we all do, right? We all of us give in to sin at some point in our lives. That's why we need Christ. But and priests often go through that kind of thing as well, that kind of struggle.
Mm.
You want to get on my bad side?
Oh my God, you have a bad side?
Give me the
I love
clarity
him
and
right
need
there.
to know how to stop this goddamn cocksucking piece.
David starts to see a split-tongued demon that takes the form of a sex-crazed Kristen at night when he's lying in bed. When Kristen and David talk about the other night, she claims she never came back, leaving David confused, remembering vividly the sex he thought he took part in. Dr. Kurt Boggs confides in Sister Andrea about how he sees a demon every night. Leland starts talking to Lexus online with the intent on grooming her into one of his.
Now, that was a really good episode, too. I love the fact that they brought up how predators find people in online games, these MMORPGs, massive multimedia online player games, because that's real. People actually
Sure.
do seek out people and hunt them down inside these giant games. So it was a really nice way to kind of insert that in there. And each episode, they do often incorporate elements of where people are finding people in different ways, in different mischievous ways. They do.
Well-
They tackle real subjects in the episodes.
And she was the one who was specifically lured in too, because of whatever kind of condition she may have that we don't
Yeah.
yet know. Right.
Yeah, because she was so Alexis, their one daughter, she was pulled out through RSM, the fertility clinic.
Right.
And they indicate that she was probably part of that same experiment. So she might be some kind of hybrid.
Yeah. Because wasn't there like some tail popping out, if I remember?
Yep.
Thought that was so odd, but not everyone can see it.
Was it really there?
So it was just implying it was a spiritual condition.
Probably.
Fascinating.
Demonic sigil family pets. But Lexus and her sisters play along to trick him into saying something incriminating, recording him every time they see him online.
Is this your house, Linda? Can I see inside? I'm lonely, Linda. Aren't you? I'd rather be alone with you than with all your friends.
The demonic apparition of Kristen continues to force itself on David like a succubus. The Vatican intelligence agent, Victor LeConte, recruits David. After Andy pours a shrunken head he finds underneath their bed down the toilet with the plunger, it gets clogged and blood flows from the toilet bowl like.
Now, so what's really important is that,
That was so weird.
yeah, it was, but that head was the symbol of the house of that demon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why throughout most of the season, it caused those echoes in the walls, in the background, and in the plumbing, and that was that demon trying to take control over that household and probably over Alexis, their daughter.
Mm.
So, it was causing that chaos in the house.
Where did it come from again? I
It
forgot.
was given to her by Leland.
Ah,
Yeah, and then, of course, it was the mother that put it underneath their bed.
right. I remember.
Yep. And the one thing I don't think they bring up in this clip is how often, that one demon appears to Katya or, the therapist.
Mhm.
How often it appears to her in her own bed. You know, she suffers from, sleep paralysis
Right.
as it comes and speaks to her on different nights, threatening her family, and she has no control over it until later inside season 2 and 3, but he makes another appearance later.
Mm,
So, was he just a figment of her imagination, or is it able to affect her cerebrally?
mm.
Yeah.
Volcano. The team investigates an internet meme where kids yell Captain Kirk is Christ and deface the church with graffiti that says praise Wandering Jack.
The meme's called Visiting Jack.
It's this thing on the internet where you say his name 3
No,
times.
it's when you see him at night if there's a full moon.
Kristen takes her oldest daughter Lynn to her friend's house Ren, who got all screwed up from the Visiting Jack game. Kristen and Ben find that Wandering Jack is just a homeless college student, but realize someone is interposing images of Wandering Jack onto an online maps app of houses that were involved in murders and suicides. Edward, the weird rich guy in Leland's demonic cannibalistic cult, poses as a rich billionaire that wants to buy Andy's climbing business, talking Andy into going to Nepal to help get the business started. He agrees because Edward is offering him an exorbitant amount of money for the business. Sister Andrea observes David and Kristen's case with the newlyweds, who are having an allergic reaction to each other when they get intimate because she can see a demon infesting their relationship. Leland tries to get Sister Andrea excommunicated, claiming she is getting senile.
It is my right as a member of the National Coalition of American Nuns to insist on an investigation before any forced retirement.
Do you see demons, sister?
Yes.
Is there a demon in this room now?
Sister Andrea requests
So well
Dr.
played.
Boggs to do her mental health assessment.
I understand you asked for me to consult. May I ask why?
You've seen a demon.
I don't know what I saw.
You saw a demon.
Are your
So when he first saw the demon, it appeared to him in the hallway, went boop, and put the little dot on his nose.
Yeah.
visions visual, auditory, or tactile?
They are all three.
How often do you see these demons? Once a week? Once a month?
Once an hour.
Dr. Boggs testifies at Sister Andrea's church hearing, telling her tribunal that Sister Andrea did in fact see the church cardinal conversing with a demon. David, Kristen, and Ben track a guy who sends out the ghost frequency at 18.9 hertz. Kristen destroys the guy's equipment he uses to send out his demonic frequency on a famously haunted stretch of highway. Victor LeConte tailed David, and when him and his team leave, he sends someone in to kill the guy sending out the demonic frequency, because he was a leader of a sigil family, and the Vatican's goal is to destroy all the demonic lineages before they have time to get cannibalized by their successors.
Over the centuries, we have eliminated this house and this house. All of
Now, what's very interesting is the entity works for the Vatican, or they're friends of the Vatican. And really, throughout season 2 into season 3, they're this mysterious entity, and they're kind of insinuated to be evil. But then throughout the season, more and more you find out these guys actually are fighting for good.
Mhm.
They just are in secrecy because there's so many entities like these 66 houses that are fighting against them. And so they cannot let anything out because it will stop their progress. And that's why they're so secretive.
I love the organization of, all the different sigils and all of that,
Yeah.
and how it represents evil. You can see the parallels that we have in our own society, right? Different corporations with their own logos, quote unquote.
Oh, yeah.
And, the implication there. I won't say any, but I also love that they brought up a little bit earlier the deep fake thing
Yes.
and how, evil people would use deep fakes to control or distort our reality, and we can't tell what's real and what's not real.
Yes. Again, it's very well played. I love
Yeah.
the fact that they dive into real life subjects
Mhm.
and how people are being misled through real technology, real social media. And they can't, of course, call out real names, but the
Right.
fact that they're able to do that educates the public.
Yep.
Of these,
When David gets called to a deadly fire in an apartment building, several survivors to the fire claim to have seen a woman in a white gown carrying a lamb, helping people trapped in the fire escape the inferno before the building collapsed. The church wants the team to investigate whether or not the figure people saw was a Sicilian nun who died in the 1950s. David has a vision of a white woman holding a lamb, telling him to run like the people who claimed to be saved by the same figure the night of the fire. After talking to a black lady that saw the robed woman as black, David's next vision of the woman carrying the lamb is now black as well.
Now, on this one, I will say so the Catholic Church, if you look at the most ancient historical figures like Jesus or Mother Mary, they will often be reflected in the cultures that they are in. So, like if you're in Japan, they'll look Japanese. China, they'll look Chinese. South America, they'll look South American. Africa, they'll look African. That's on purpose. And she often will appear in the indigenous people in their own appearance
Yeah.
because they're not separated by race like we are. So,
Yep. I saw on one video on YouTube, how reliable that is, but whatever.
you're now a scholar.
But in some of the deep vaults in the Russian Catholic Church and the Russian Orthodox Church, a lot of their oldest relics, they're actually black.
Yep.
Mary, Jesus, all of that. There's a lot of black representation that the Russian people can't get any whiter than that.
Right. Right.
uh, hold as sacred.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
again,
Many
like,
of many, to your point, many of the early church fathers were African, were from Alexandria and
mhm,
different parts of Africa, Ethiopia. So,
yep.
Causing David to question his religion, thinking if he saw angels as white in the past, it's because of Catholic Renaissance iconography, which he suggests is merely a psychological function of the brain, not God. In episode 6, an investigation into a girl who they find out live streamed her exorcism on a video sharing app called VidTap leads the team into a viral phenomenon where VidTap users add demonic audio and other editing techniques to make their videos seem real. After
which I'd be surprised if somebody doesn't take that name after this episode came out because VidTap's a great name.
Ben exposes the magician on VidTap that inspired the girl's exorcism, he triggers the online community of demon believers.
I'm possessed. Look, it only took me 5 minutes. And this is how he eats glass.
I love Ben. I love Ben so much.
Sugar glass. These are fake blood capsules. You just bite down on them. And there you go. It's all fake.
The team investigates a case of a
For
mother
sure I would
named
watch
Marie
any
who put a camera in her
TV
son's
show
room and
he
got
was
footage
in.
of what looks
Yeah,
like
he's
demonic
great.
possession. When Marie goes live recording another demonic possession in her kids' room, she claims that she didn't go live and that VidTap went live itself. After Kristen tries to talk to Andy
Interesting
over
point
video
there.
chat again, it's revealed that Leland is deep faking the video chat when she calls, and Andy is really being heavily sedated and hypnotized in Leland's evil laboratory. Ben's friend from his adult science club works at VidTap and gives Ben Marie's raw, unedited footage. After Marie's called out by the team, she fakes another possession video live on VidTap.
We traced the IP address of Polly the Pig to a place called St. Joseph's Parish. I think it's a church. And Polly the Pig
Uh-oh.
is not a 14-year-old from Sun Valley.
Look who was on Epstein Lolita Express.
You know better than anyone. Church cannot risk the liability in this matter.
Leland suggests a demonic ritual to get rid of Dr. Boggs' writer's block. Dr. Boggs takes Leland's advice and performs a satanic ritual. David finds
It was a really creepy song they played too, because it was like a regular like
Remember.
like kids song,
Mhm.
and it gets sped up, and you see the demon chasing him. That was really creepy.
out that the
Really
prophetess
quick,
that
I thought it was a very interesting point how the mother claimed that she never turned on the app. The app itself kept turning itself on.
Right.
Are there backdoors to these apps on our phones?
Lots of backdoors.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
got deported to a work camp in China in season 1. Grace Ling is still alive. Leland brings Dr. Boggs to a demon summoning.
You've heard of rebirthing therapy as a treatment for reactive attachment disorder. Well, I do the same thing, except with demonic therapy. The subject invites the demonic in and then expels it. It's often the only way to reach the grossly reactive.
Okay, so again, Michael Emerson is a brilliant actor.
He really is.
I love that guy. He plays the best conniving, like, little villain ever. I
Very
mean,
true.
I don't know if there's a better conniving villain in cinema history.
But the only person who could have probably played that part was who was the demon in Supernatural, the King of Hell.
Oh, yes. Oh shoot. I mean, he called himself Crowley.
Right.
Yeah,
Crowley.
but I forget the actor's name. But yes, also very brilliant.
Yes,
Yes.
just as good.
Oh, equally as good. I love Supernatural. We'll definitely have to showcase it in a future episode because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Jeez. What's extraordinary? Experiencing it. Being on the inside, not observing, being.
What do you mean?
Tom Wolfe, Hunter S. Thompson, gonzo journalism. This is what your book needs. You becoming possessed, then having the demon expelled, then you write about it.
Grace Ling is released because of David's work.
Now think of that logic. What's the best way to figure out what heroin is? Become a heroin addict and then get off of it.
Yeah.
With the church's intelligence agency. Kristen takes Kurt's rough draft to read and realizes he's pulled a Jack Nicholson from Kubrick's The Shining.
Love it.
Kristen tosses the nonsensical manuscript aside. Moments later, Kristen's daughter walks by, picks it up, and is able to read it by holding the manuscript up.
Now, I have no idea how she figured that out, but that was genius. And what he doesn't say here is that that script goes on to become very well read by her daughters, and they love it, and they want him to continue writing it because they love how well read they are in his script.
Mm.
To the mirror. Grace Ling draws a prophecy of Andy's imprisonment, and Leland's little servant Cheryl overhears and shows Leland a picture of Grace's drawing that looks a lot like Andy's creepy prison cell at Leland's. Leland goes to the church wielding his knife, looking.
This part blew me away because in season 1, Leland is very conniving and he gets everybody to do his work for him.
Yeah.
So the fact that he does this himself, is that desperation?
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Is it the fact he no longer has the control he once had? I mean, think about the implications of this. He had a guy shooting people on rooftops,
Mm-hmm.
and now he is knifing a person himself.
Yep.
He's losing control.
Indeed.
For Grace and kills Monsignor in a struggle. The team investigates Kristen's neighbor on the other side of their duplex, who complains of weird noises, blood coming out of their sink, and a demon's eye coming out of the toilet.
So, what were all those looks between you two?
Yeah, so a few months ago, I had blood come up from my toilet, and Ben helped me with it.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's an old house.
I never told you this, but when I was fixing your toilet, an eyeball came up. From
Whoopsie.
That's normal.
Whoopsie.
I thought it would freak you out.
Of course it would freak me
He's
out.
just a rat.
Kristen and her daughters call Andy on video chat, and Edward answers, telling Kristen that Andy got caught in an avalanche.
Here's that
Lexi
deep
posts
fake again.
Leland's avatar in Bumblebee Valley, and the girls hear it on the video chat with Edward, proving Leland's involvement.
Now, this was a genius move by them because they were already suspecting that Leland was faking everything he was saying and that the other guy was in cahoots with him.
Yep.
And so the girls geniusly, and I this is where I did not like the mother's character in this instance, Kristen. She's like, no, and she's just crying and crying and crying. She's not listening to her daughters who are concisely, logically explaining the problem, and she can't get enough control of herself to figure out, maybe I should listen to my daughters, right? Because they figure it out, and they start pinging him, and they hear it on the other side. They're like, no, this is fake. Don't listen.
Right. And I remember they kept pinging him so much that he couldn't stay focused on any of his other work.
Yes.
Remember, I think that's how he got so desperate. He's like, oh my God, these girls, I can't keep up.
And what the daughters don't realize is that their actions end up saving their father's life
Yeah.
because they were getting ready to kill him.
Yep.
And the fact they're pinging him and they realize that they're figuring it out, they have to leave him alive.
Mm,
So they actually save their father's life in the process.
genius writing.
What are you talking about? He poked you through Bumblebee Valley when you were on with Edward.
Then, to Kristen's surprise, Andy knocks on the door, not remembering much. When Andy looks at the picture of his holding cell stuck to their fridge, he has flashbacks of when Leland put him in the sunken place. Kristen discovers Cheryl's creepy job. Andy wanders down to the unfinished room on the first floor to a gaggle of demons standing around Kristen's demon baby, glowing in the center of the demonic assembly.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Season 3 ends with Kristen
Yes, that was the therapist that is now part of their company.
looking on in terror as Leland is giving a speech for some sort of baby shower.
All right, so that was the recap of season 2 and 3. Now, there was 1 or 2 weak parts as well. So let me hold on. Get out of this. I love the show. I love the struggles the characters go through.
Mm-hmm.
Because they one thing I wish they would have tackled more inside of the recap is the struggle that the Islamic character Asif Mandvi, I think is the actor's name, Ben.
Mhm.
So that he goes through because he's coming from the lapsed Muslim perspective where he doesn't think any of this is real, right?
Yeah.
But then he has a manifestation of a demon appear to him of the jinn
Yes. Yeah.
from Islamic theology.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very fascinating, and I really want to do an upcoming episode with Khalil going into angels, demons, and things like jinn because we touched on it previously, but there's so much more we could talk about. And I'd love to go into the different spiritual entities that we shared in common, and
Yep.
then some things that may go from side to side, right?
We just need Khalil back on.
Yeah, he said that he will be back on. I talked to him 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
Yeah, so he will be back. But yeah, I definitely want to dive into that. So Ben's struggle was interesting because he started seeing these things. It's kind of cool.
It is.
Yeah.
I also love how they related that, the psychiatrist had to sell his soul basically in order to become successful at writing,
Yeah.
which is what so many people, right, in Hollywood or whatever, that's the thing you hear about, but it's still taboo to talk about. Well, I had to sell my soul, and all of a sudden now my music is all over the radio.
Yep. Whether that's an actual pact with the devil or a casting couch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad. It's sad, but true. And there was definitely there was 1 or 2 weak parts that I saw to the episode.
Mhm.
I love the nun. She was a great addition.
Oh, we didn't even talk about her. Yeah, she's great.
She's great. I love the addition of
Yes.
her. She was fantastic. The only thing I thought was weak with her was when she was going through the house and using a shovel to kill demons.
That was so lame. That
It's
ended the
cringy.
season, didn't it?
Yeah, it was cringy. Sister Andrea, I think it was.
Yeah.
But that was the only weak part. I love her character. She's a strong nun. She's a strong person. She's a strong believer. She's actually like strength behind David.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah, like she's a strong character. The only weak thing I saw in the writing was when she was killing demons with a shovel.
Literally with the shovel.
That was cringy.
And I'm
That
like,
was-
okay, all right.
There's no way you're killing spiritual entities with a shovel.
Yeah, they just want a little evangelical there.
Yeah. You'll be better off shooting them with supernatural. Shoot 'em with salt, right?
Right.
Even that would be better. So I think that was like the only weak part to the show that I can remember off the top of my head.
But she's the only one that can see that, right?
No,
Am I right?
So she can see the demons directly. She's a seer.
Right.
David can sometimes see them. So his gift is strengthening because now he can sometimes see them.
Okay.
So because seers, they can see things, but then as their faith develops, as their gift develops, they can see things more and more. And she told him that he is a seer. So
It's amazing what I'll call an inquisition of her when she was, in that meeting with all the top Catholic leaders, and they were trying to, condemn her or whatever it is they were trying to do there. I can't remember officially what it was called
right.
because it implies was that she actually had the spiritual discernment to see those things and they couldn't. The top leaders in the church.
Correct.
That's pretty significant.
It's very significant. And you're seeing the idea that a lot of academic leaders
Mhm.
are just not spiritually sensitive because they're more geared towards these physical things in life. They're more geared towards theology, dogma, law, and so they forego the mystical side.
Yeah.
The Richard Rohr side, right?
Mhm.
The part that says, "Hey, let's go beyond these things we're reading." Right?
Yep.
What's experiential.
But I'm sure Leland wasn't going to allow people like her to be there.
Right.
That would,
Exactly.
that kind of makes sense. I don't know that against the Catholic Church, but
Yeah. And we do have that in the Catholic Church. I mean, I'm
shout out to the women though, for sure.
oh, hands off. So some of the nuns in the church are some of the hardest core, hardest backbone of the church. I mean, there's so many strong women that have pushed people through education, that have pushed them on their spiritual journeys. I mean, I've said it before, there are nuns that outrank priests across the church for a reason. That's because they're so integral to what we do in the church.
Yep.
And without them, the church would never be what it is right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Even if you don't have a quote unquote title, it doesn't mean you're not spiritually a giant.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, the lady itself is known as the lowest part of the priesthood, right? But still, we're still part of that priesthood. We still participate.
Yeah. I think they portray that very well in there. So that's great. It's hysterical though when people see her like, what are you doing? Why what are you hitting with the shovel?
Exactly. So, but yeah, so now on some of our news episodes, we will recap some of the episodes as we watch them. So look for that in our future news episodes. And that we'll call that a night right there.
Yeah, what do we catch us on, Aaron?
Any last thoughts?
Man, can't wait to season 4. I hope it's just as good and there's not the taboo over brew.
Good fight, good night. Catch us on all social media. We're going to do a lot more live streaming because I think this is the wave of our future episodes.
Mm-hmm. We are not deep fakes
at all. No, pitch me. I will bleed, I guess.
I'm not going to pinch you on camera.
Speaking good night.
Peace out.